Hi everyone, Joe Kehrig here with the Kehrig Real Estate Team, and welcome to week 5 of Shelter in Place in Real Estate. I appreciate you guys being here. I get questions and calls every week about the real estate market and where I think it's going, and that's why I do these on a weekly basis to keep you up to date. Our thoughts, of course, are with you and your family, and we're in this together, and we're here for you, anything that you need. Obviously, we've been delivering a lot of sanitizer. We actually delivered some toilet paper to some clients that weren't able to get out of the house. So again, anything you need, all of our information will be at the end of this video. I always want to, say God bless to always our military, our first responders, but the doctors and the nurses and the truckers, the grocery store people that are there, that are working, the farmers. And so we really are all in this together, not only in the United States, but in the world. So thank you for who our real heroes are in the world. It reminds me when I see on the news of the nurses and the doctors going into the hospital, it reminds me of the pictures you see of the firemen and the police going in the burning building where everyone else is running out, or the military or the police running to the bullets, instead of running away. So those are our real heroes. If we don't forget one thing about this, let's not forget that those are our real heroes in all of this and really in our lives. Let's talk a little bit about real estate. First off, I always try to give you an update on interest rates. Interest rates are holding steady. They're still good. I will tell you that the mortgage market is firming up a little bit. I think I talked last week about FHA. Not a lot of FHA in the San Ramon Valley because of the loan limits, but just as an example, where they had a minimum credit score of 580, it went up to 640. So again, it is tightening. Chase Bank just came out this week and said that they are not going to, on jumbo loans, they're not going to go below a 700 credit score, and they would require at least 20% down. So big change on that. Since 2008, things were very tight. Then they've been loosening up a little bit. So anyway, interest rates are still very good. They're still in the threes, potentially if it's a conforming loan in the low threes. So I was really anticipating listening to Gavin Newsome, our governor, because he talked about, the steps to reopen our society and our business. And so I listened to his entire speech yesterday. And matter of fact, if you look, I've got his 6 points that he felt he could open up. The one thing, open up the economy. The one thing that I took away from it, which I agree, and I've agreed with Governor Newsome up to this point, as far as, because he was ahead of the curve and probably saved thousands of lives in California. And really, California has become the poster child in how to basically do social distancing and shelter in place. We got started early, and it obviously shows. The one thing I did really appreciate that he talked about yesterday was that this wasn't a switch. You weren't just going to pop a switch and turn on the economy again and everyone was going to go back to work. It was more like a dimmer, where obviously slowly but surely that, he brings the economy back and the people going back to work, which is good because that's kind of what it has to be. One of my concerns, though, when you look at his 6 points that you'll see on the screen, he talks about, for him to feel comfortable to start getting back to work was, to expand the testing, to make sure it was there. Number 2, continue to protect the most vulnerable population in the state. Number 3, provide needed PPE and other resources to hospital and their staffs. Prepare for a potential surge if people do go back to work. Number 4, continue to work closely with academics and research partners. Number 5, redrawing floor plans. In other words, if you go back to school in September, because this year he said it is gone for school, as we know, that maybe you do it in shifts, lunches and shifts. Keep spread apart. And then number 6, maintain the capacity to reinstate more vigorous controls. Here's the problem that I did have with this is so much of it is arbitrary. And I will tell you that, in my opinion, we do have to start getting back to work. I think, I was really kind of surprised that he held the conference, yesterday because, May 6th is the next date that we're supposed to be sheltering in place to. And that's still 3 weeks away. And God knows in this thing, 3 weeks is like a lifetime. 3 weeks ago, things were looking a lot more dire than they were now. And there's a lot of good news out there, but we still have to, like they talk about, protect those that are most vulnerable. At the same point, there's always inherent risk, and we've got to be smart about it. It's like when we get into our car, car crashes kill over 1.2 million people a year. So when we get in our car, what do? We fasten our seatbelt. We hopefully go the speed limit. We don't run red lights. This is going to be the same type of thing where it's not like we don't drive just because there's 1.2 million deaths. We've got to get back to work. But it's got to be, like he said, it's got to be like a dimmer, but it's got to start. And there's going to be some inherent risk. And at some point we have to take responsibility for ourselves. We have to make sure those are the most vulnerable are protected. Make sure if we have elderly parents that they are sheltered in place and that we're taking care of them. Obviously, widespread testing will help. So if you have the antibodies and you can actually not have to worry about spreading it. But we do have to get to work. We get in that car every day, even though there's over 1 million deaths from car accidents. And so there is going to be an inherent risk, but we got to be smart about it. We got to do the social distancing. Let's not hope, because I'm a hugger and a handshaker, and that's probably not going to come back for a while, but hopefully at some point we can at least be smart about that. But everything else that we've learned through this. So let's hope on May 6th, at least slowly but surely, we're getting back to work. So the other thing that, if you look at the chart, we talked about, and if you got this email, you saw that why I feel this is not 2008. And there's a lot of people, because we are in a recession, and there's a lot of people that, oh my God, it's going to be like 2008, it's going to crash. It's not going to happen. The foundation of it, remember, 2008 real estate led us into that. But when you look at these stats, this is one of the most amazing ones that's so different from 2006, 7, and 8. Is 53.8 of all homes in America have at least a 50% equity. 37% of the homes are free and clear. 26.7% of the homes have at least 50% equity. That's so different. I sold property during that bank-owned, and short sale. And I got to tell you, when the market went down 10%, half the people were upside down. There was a normal 10% correction that just crashed the market because everyone was getting the funny financing. The foundation now is so much stronger, and obviously 53.8% of the people having over 50% equity. And then the reason behind that is you can see that people use their home. When you look at the chart, total home equity cash out, they use their home like an ATM, which we haven't as much the last few years. And then you look the months of inventory of homes for sale. Look where it is right now today, comparatively to where it was in 2007, 2008, 2009, and 2010. There was so much inventory on the market, where right now it's really a seller's market. So now there will be more inventory comes on the market once we're able to start getting homes back on the market, once we're able to start really marketing the homes. They talk about a V recovery, and I've talked about it I showed you the chart, and you'll see the chart in the email that this video came from. They're talking about a V recovery. I've kind of changed my opinion a little bit because I did feel it was going to be a V recovery. I think it's going to be more like a U recovery, because what's going to happen is they're going to be really apprehensive about getting back into the marketplace, and it might be delayed a little bit as far as getting people back at work. And so as it drags on, it's going to hurt the economy. A lot of these businesses that basically have shut down aren't going to come back. A V means that everything comes back to the way it was. At this point, it's not going to happen. And the longer that we're in this, that's why it's so important to get this economy going. The longer that we're in this, the less chance that it's going to be the V. So I think in the real estate wise, is it's going to drop down, and then you're going to have all this inventory hit the market, which under $1 million in the San Ramon Valley, I think is always going to be hot. But when you get to $1.5 million, $2 million and above, there's going to be a lot of inventory, and I think it's going to flatline for a little bit until that inventory burns off, which I think is going to be more like the third and the fourth quarter. And then we're going to start to see the U shape come up. So I think it's going to take a couple quarters, especially if the governors are apprehensive as far as getting the economy going, because the one thing that really is the unknown with this is if people lose their job permanently and they're out of work, they're not buying houses. So again, we got to get this economy doing. We got to get the economy going. We got to do it. We got to do it smartly. So again, looking at the slides, you can see the Danville market. Inventory's down just a little bit. A lot of people have pulled their home off the market because remember, if the home is occupied, we can't show it. Now, I mentioned last week that I purchased a little condo. I purchased a sight on scene because it was occupied. Now, once I was in escrow, then I had the chance to obviously walk through it, and I walked through it, and I'm moving forward with it. But you've seen a lot of occupied homes pull off the market. We really don't believe that is the best thing to do because there's a lack of inventory on the market right now. There's probably less inventory there's going to be than probably for the next 8 months, because what happens is when this opens up, the floodgates are going to open. All these homes are going to come on the market, which is going to soften the market. So we're encouraging our sellers to stay on the market. Even if they don't sell, they get that exposure. But you'll also see, and you'll see this consistently in the Danville market, the pendings are way down, the closed sales are way down. And we're going to see that for a couple more weeks. Same thing with San Ramon, except you see inventory is, building up a little bit. But again, pending sales are down, closed sales are down. Blackhawk has basically stayed pretty stagnant. Nothing closed last week, still 7 pendings. Inventory built up a little bit. And then you see Alamo. Again, inventory is built up a little bit, a lot less pending sales on the market. A lot of those pending sales closed, as you can see. So that market stayed pretty steady, but still a little bit slow. So what would we do if we were, a buyer or a seller? As I told you, I purchased a place last week. I would be a buyer, but I would be a smart buyer. I wouldn't feel like I had to, rush out there and buy tomorrow. Though I will tell you, I don't think the market under $1 million in the San Ramon market will take a dip at all, because that is such a strong market, and it's an entry level market that there's just not enough inventory. The stuff around $1.5 million, $2 million, depending on what's going to be really important is the first couple of weeks that we see all these homes come on the market, we really have to pay attention to the absorption rate. How fast are they getting burnt off? So we're going to see a lot of homes come on the market, and I think the third and the fourth quarter, we're going to see those burn off. And probably by the fourth quarter, we'll have somewhat of an even market. And then the first quarter next year, I think it's going to be just like it started out this year, with a lack of inventory and more buyers, and there were homes to purchase, and it will keep the market strong. The only thing that can change that is, though I never think it's going to be a 2008 because the foundation is so much stronger, is going to be the fact that we got to start getting back to work. There's going to be a risk inherent with that. We have to do it carefully, but and I don't think we should do it too soon. But another 3 weeks, the way the last 3 weeks have gone, I think we're going to be in May 6th, be able to start pushing that dimmer switch up and start getting people back to work. So anyway, I hope that's helped. Always feel free to call me. You'll see on the screen My cell number, direct cell number, 925-487-6838, and email joe@kehrigteam.com. As always, as I tell my family every day, may God bless you and keep you safe. May God bless the United States of America, and may God bless the world. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week in Sheltering in Place Week 6. Talk to you soon. Thanks.